Welcome back, guys, to National High School Football. You can catch us on our website, nationalhsfb.com. I'm your host, Larry Godwin. My counterpart in the upper right-hand corner of the screen is yours truly, Joe Mamone with Prep Gridiron Logistics, holding up the peace symbol. Hey, listen, you guys know the deal by now. We have scoured the countryside looking for the most prominent head coaches all over the country. And we've got a special guest tonight, the new head coach for the Lipscomb Academy in Nashville, Tennessee, former NFL superstar, Kevin Mawae. Welcome, Coach.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited about this. I guess this will be one of my first national interviews as a head football coach. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll start a trend and it just keeps me on an upward trajectory from here, you know?
Coach, we're honored to have you here tonight. Obviously, I have a couple of reasons I'm excited. Number one, as a Jersey guy, I'm a long-time Jet fan.
E-T-S, Jets. There we go.
That's number one.
Awesome.
Number two.
Got my picture back here on this side.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Coach, you were a big dude.
Yeah, I was a little bigger back in the day. The size hasn't changed. Just the way it looks is a little bit softer right now.
Nice. And number two, Coach, you don't know this, but the date 10/27/90 is very important to me. You and I actually were on the same football field at the same time. Well, I was basically on the sidelines. You were on the field. So on that day, I was down at Florida State. I was in my first year of a 2-year grad assistantship with Coach Bowden, and we hosted the LSU Tigers that day. Were you a freshman that year or redshirt?
I was a redshirt freshman. I was in my second year at LSU, and I was the starting left tackle in that game. I believe. Yeah.
So do you remember what happened at the end of that game? The final was
100%.
Hey, listen. So the final was 42-3. But so Florida State won that game. Tell our audience what happened after the game.
So the game was out of control. LSU, we got smoked. It was that was the beginning of the downward spiral for the LSU program. So we're in the game. Jesse Daigle is our quarterback in that part of the game. And I think it's Jesse Daigle. So he scrambles out of the pocket, runs to the right, down the right sideline, which was the visiting sideline. And Kirk Carruthers, the 2-time All-American linebacker, takes a shot on him 2 feet out of bounds, like lays him out. And so our starting right guard, Darren Landry, who had a broken hand, was playing in a cast, comes up next to him. I think it was a left hand, and throws a huge uppercut on Kirk Carruthers. And that just all heck just busted loose. It was like sidelines cleared. Both teams, the game was over. I mean, that's the last play of the game.
Yeah.
Both benches cleared. I remember we had one of our GAs had his shirt ripped off. We were kicking, punching, slinging helmets. It was probably a disgusting way to end the game, but I think the one thing we felt good about is that we actually won the fight, even though we lost the game. So,
right. Kevin, Coach, look at the players. Larry, here are the players that were on the field that night, other than Coach. Running back Harvey Williams, great running back. Another running back, you might know this name, Larry, Odell Beckham.
Yeah,
but it's not junior, it's senior.
Senior, yeah.
Todd Kinchin, wide receiver, went on to play in the NFL, and also Harold Bishop was a great tight end. So there were some great players on the field that night between Florida State and LSU. And Coach, I just wanted to tell you that story because when I come down for your IMG game, that'll be the second time we're both on the same field together.
That's great. Yeah. Well, hopefully the score will be in my favor on that one. So
exactly.
It'll be a great game nonetheless. But I'm looking forward to having you. It'll be great to meet you in person.
And that was Coach Bowden's 200th career victory.
Yeah. And little known fact, our special teams coordinator was a guy by the name of Joe Wessel, who I think still owns the record for the most blocked punts in Florida State's history. So he actually played at Florida State, Joe Wessel.
Coach, I've got a question for you. I was just reading some background about you. There was an article that I found in the Tennessean, and it was published January 24th this year, written by a writer named George Robinson. This is what he said. He said 3 weeks ago, Kevin Mawae wasn't planning on making any life-changing decisions. 2 weeks ago, that changed as he interviewed to become the Lipscomb Academy football coach. A week ago, he was negotiating the terms of his contract. Coach, you had a very, very busy 3-4 week period. You go from negotiating an NFL contract to interviewing for the Lipscomb Academy head coach. Why did you want to come to the high school world?
Man, there are so many different reasons. When I retired from the NFL, I volunteered at Vanderbilt University for a season, and then I took a assistant coaching job at Montgomery Bell Academy here in Nashville, Tennessee in 2011. At that time, we decided as a family that we were going to leave Nashville, go back to Louisiana, where we're both from, and so that my kids can grow up around their grandparents and aunts and uncles and stuff. So I was out of football for an entire season. 2013, that was 2013, I volunteered at LSU, and a player by the name of Trey Turner came out that year. He's since been in the league for 9 years, all-pro player. He went off to train for the combine, came back, and he knew I was there at LSU helping out and stuff. And he's like, hey, will you train me between now and the draft? And so I started training him and built a business over a 3-year period. And I was like, okay, I can train one-on-one O-line guys, but I want to see if my goal was to become the next O-line coach in the NFL. Next, like the guy, the Howard Mudd,
right?
Howard Mudd, Jim McNally, Paul Alexander, Paul Boudreaux. I wanted to be one of those kind of guys, Mike Munchak. And so that started my trajectory into coaching. I did internships. I did the Bill Walsh Fellowship, Minority Fellowship 3 times in the NFL with training camps. I did mini camps, OTAs. And so I was working my way up the ladder, wanting to become an NFL O-line coach. Fast forward, I ended up on staff as an offensive analyst, assistant O-line coach at Arizona State under Herm Edwards, whom I played for with the New York Jets. And then opportunity opened up for me to join the Indianapolis Colts. Frank Reich hired me there as assistant offensive line coach. And now I'm only maybe 2 years, 3 years tops away from having my own O-line room. Then in 2021 with the Colts, 22 with the Colts, dismal season. Coordinator gets fired in week 4. Head coach gets fired in week 6. I'm like, I'm going to gut check this thing out. I'm going to hopefully get a job, get my own room at the end of this year. But I'm looking down the barrel of 8 more weeks in the season, 6 more weeks in the season, and very little time with my wife. We made 30 years this past May. And I just, in my heart, I knew it's like I spent too much time in my life building an opportunity for me to spend time with my family, to hate football so much, to be, and not that the NFL was bad. It's just the hours, and everybody talks about the hours in the NFL, and until you experience it. And then I was on the back end of a losing season, no uncertainty with the head coach and all that. So I didn't know where I stood. One of my best friends, whom I played with in Seattle early in my career, Grant Williams, was on staff at Lipscomb Academy. And he's like, hey, the last staff's leaving. Why don't you come here and try to be the head coach? And I said, no, I'm trying to make this NFL thing work. And this was like late November, early December. So Lipscomb wins the state championship in December 1st. Head coach announces that he's leaving to go to UAB. And my bye week for the Colts was on December 10th. So I come in, we hang out with our friends, stay with Grant and Emily Williams. And they just keep hammering, hey, be the head coach. No, I'm not going to. So we get back 2 weeks later, a week later, whatever it was, before Christmas, the head of the high school, he sends me a text that your name came up as somebody who might be interested, or we should be interested in for the head coaching job. Is it something you'd be interested in? I didn't even respond to the text. I just left it on red for like an entire week. And I was like, let me just focus on the season. And, but as it kept going on, we lost another game and then another game. And I wasn't getting home till midnight, sometimes sleeping in the office. And I would see my wife on Sunday night, and I wouldn't see her again until Thursday night. And I'm like, I didn't have joy in it. It wasn't that I hated it. I didn't have joy in what I was doing. And so I just started really thinking about this job. It's like, hey, what do you, my wife and I discussed it. What do you think about the high school? I said, the most fun I ever had coaching high school was when I was at Montgomery Bell coaching high school kids. And then the 2 years I spent in Louisiana coaching junior high, 5th and 6th graders. And I said, I really enjoyed it, those moments of coaching. And I just had a piece about it. I had a piece about it. If the opportunity comes up, I'll interview or whatever. So a week later, after that text message, I get a FaceTime call, and it ended up being Brad Schultz, who's the head of the high school here at Lipscomb Academy. And I didn't answer it at first, but then there's a lull in my day. It was like a Tuesday it's just a work day for all the coaches on the staff. You're kind of working on your own. So I had a little time. So I FaceTimed him back, and he was like, I apologize. It was a FaceTime. It was like a butt dial. But now that I got you, hey, I'm Brad Schultz, head of the high school, and whatever. So he pitched the idea and said, is this something you'd be interested in? And we kind of talked about it. And, a couple of days later, I said, hey, yeah, I'd be interested. I said, my season ends on whatever day it was. At the end of the season, let's talk about it. And so the season ended for us with the Colts. And I was going to Hawaii. Both my young adult kids live in Hawaii. So one's in law school, one's doing has a job on another island. And so we were going to go there. I hadn't seen them in 6 months. I want to go and visit them before I made any changes and big decisions. And they were adamant that they wanted to make the decision before February 1st, before the end of January. And I was like, look, I can't give you an answer, but I would love to interview for the job, but I'm going to Hawaii. And it's like, well, if we bring you down the next day, we interview you, send you back, and you go take your trip? And so we agreed to it. So they flew my wife and I down to Nashville, and it was on a down low, because I know that at one time Jason Witten had agreed to the job, and then it didn't work out, and it was a lot, and they didn't want to be jilted like that again. And so in order to protect myself from being on Football Scoop and all the rumor mills and them saving face, I said, I'll only interview it if nobody knows I'm coming in town. I'll come there, come to school, we'll do the interview, and I'm out. And that's what they did. They honored that. And so we got back to Indianapolis, got on a plane, went to Hawaii. And I told them, I said, look, if you call me next week, we'll get on a Zoom call, and whatever happens, I'll be able to give you a decision at that time. And so that's what happened. So a week later, I'm in Hawaii. I get on Zoom call. The head of the high school and the president of the university, they call me, and we have a short conversation. They offer me a job, and I knew going into that phone call that I was going to accept the job if they offered it to me.
Wow!
And for all the right reasons. I mean, to have a normal life, and it's whatever a high school coaching life normal is, which is more of my family time back with me. Because of the high school schedule. The schedule, we start around the same time colleges and earlier than pros do, but we're done early December. I get my holidays back. I get spring breaks. I get summer break. And so I get my life back, but I get to give back to the game. And so at the end of the day, it was a great fit. I get to coach on a staff with my best friend, whom I've elevated to our offensive coordinator role. Got to choose my own staff and bring guys in that I trust, guys that I know, whose mission minded is the same as mine is to developing young kids to love the game, but in a Christ-centered way that is part of our school purpose. And it just, for all the right reasons, it was the right thing to do. And I haven't looked back. I'm excited about it. Today was the first day back here in Tennessee. Dead period ended last night. So we had our first day back today. We'll put pads on next week, have 2 weeks of pads, and then we'll start getting ready for IMG.
Fantastic.
And you forgot to mention that you basically assumed the head coaching position at the number 12th ranked high school football team last season. So that's pretty good too.
I did inherit a great program. The last coaching staff definitely left the cupboards full. They did a great job. And I've watched this program from afar because my best friend's been on staff. He's the O-line. He was the O-line coach last 3 years. Last 3 years. I watched when they lost the state championship game 2 years ago or 3 years ago to CPA, who's coached by Engel Martin, a former NFL player who was my teammate with the Tennessee Titans. And I watched them win the last two state title games against CPA. And so, Tennessee is familiar to me. They're 13-0 last year. They're ranked nationally. They finished the season ranked at 13. I think we're going into the season ranked somewhere in that same area right now. And if you look at my roster, I mean, every coach in the country, maybe except for maybe IMG, would be envious of the roster we have going into this season. And I'm excited about the talent that we have. And I'm excited about, we're moving up in a division. So that's going to be a big challenge to our program. But I'm excited about it. It's a new chapter for Lipscomb Academy. They've entrusted a great program into my hands, and my goal is to continue the winning tradition.
Hey, Coach, the 4 polls have come out so far this season. You're ranked somewhere between 19 and 23, depending on the poll, which is great. Let's talk about your top players returning this year. In my opinion, the top two senior players are Caleb Beasley and also Edwin Spillman.
Yep.
Juniors, two great juniors in Chauncey Gooden and CJ. Is it Jim
Coyley?
Jim Coyley.
Yeah.
Tell us those are four-star players that you have. Tell us about some other players we may not have heard of that's going to explode on the scene this year.
On the 24 class, you named two of the tops. Caleb Beasley is probably one of the top corners in the country. He can play corner. He can play safety. He's a big guy. Loves to compete. But in that class alone, we have an up-and-coming, a guy that we feel is going to be a Power 5 guy. He just committed to Eastern Carolina a couple weeks ago. Is Dylan Lorick. He's kind of a guy that nobody's really heard of. He got 10 touches last year, scored 7 touchdowns. He was number 4 in the receiver. We had Junior Sherrill, who was Mr. Tennessee, Edwin's brother, who was a receiver who's going to Tennessee. And then there's another receiver that's going to UAB. So Dylan Lorick was kind of stashed behind those guys and didn't get a lot of touches. And we've been telling recruits coming through that he's going to be the guy that's going to – everyone's like, where's this kid coming from? He's got great ball skills. He works hard. He takes more pride in blocking on the perimeter than catching the football. So we really believe he's going to be a guy that's worth keeping an eye on. We have our only senior offensive lineman is Bo Smith. He's every bit of 6'5". He's 265, 270 right now, long player. He started at right guard last year, but we're bumping him out to tackle. He's getting some action right now. So he's another guy in that class. I think a sleeper we have is a guy by the name of Kofi Boggs. He's a soccer player, but the kid's lights out. He goes from the soccer practice field during the spring ball. He gets in the last 30 minutes of our practice in the spring and just torches our defense. I mean, he's got that kind of speed. Watched him in one of the spring 7-on-7 games, and in 3 steps, he's on top of safety. I think the biggest problem we have with him is if our quarterback can actually get it to him fast enough before he gets out of range. So those are guys in that senior class. The 24 class you mentioned, 25 class you mentioned Chauncey Goodwin. Right now, he's ranked, I think, one of the top guards in the country, if not the top guard in the country. And CJ is going to be top 5 corner in the country. Kind of the mold that Caleb Beasley's in is he's tall, lanky, kind of can play corner or safety. The great thing about him, the kid's like a 4.0 student. He's loves sciences and all that kind of stuff, but he's a great leader. But that class is loaded. Our one guy, John Adair, is going to play left tackle for us. 6'6", 275 right now. He's long, lean, athletic guy. We got a tight end there who nobody really knows about because was a freshman last year, or he saw a little time last year. Maybe got 3 touches the entire year. TJ Briggs, 6'5", 6'5", every bit of 245. Got offered on the spot by a couple schools just because of his size alone. Antonio Carter is defense tackle for us. Got multiple Power 5 offers. Amir Jean Charles, another guy. He looks every bit as an NFL player. He's just built that way. 6'5", 6'4", 305. He's not fat at all, but he's got a bright future in him. And then Bo Strickland is a 2-sport player. Vanderbilt's been having heavy interest in him in baseball, and he's actually playing in a national tournament. They're expected to go to the end this week. And but he'll come in and step in and play corner or safety, depending on how we decide to use CJ and Caleb and Jace Williamson, who's actually another senior who's getting a lot of looks right now. And then Chris Thompson plays linebacker. He'll play, he can play stand-up outside linebacker. He can play at depth linebacker and cover the buzz and the flats and stuff like that. So he's kind of you put him down, put his hand in the dirt, or stand him up. So we got some. I'm telling you, I mean, most teams will talk about 1 or 2 players, and I sit here and talk about a list of 30, and we've got probably 20 guys that are sitting on multiple offers right now. And so that's not what I did. That's what these kids did. But that's a testament to what the last staff did, building this program and having kids wanting to be at Lipscomb Academy. And so I'm excited about coaching these guys.
Coach, with that star-studded lineup that you just displayed there, I don't blame you for being excited to be at Lipscomb. I got kind of a lighthearted question for you, but it touches on a little bit of seriousness at the same time. When you were naming those players, basically 4-star after 5-star after 4-star, these kids know they're really, really good. So they got a little bit of star power themselves. But when you walk into a room You know, you know what's coming. When you walked into the room, they probably thought you might have been someone else coming to coach the team. Can you smell what the coach is cooking?
There's no doubt about it. Well, here's the thing about it. These guys have been surrounded by NFL players. The last head coach, NFL guy, coaches on our staff are NFL guys. We've got NFL guys on our staff, not just me. And but the gold jacket carries a little bit more weight, and I don't take that lightly. But I use it. I can use it as whatever you want to call it. It brings attention to the program. And when I tell my offensive linemen, like, that's not how we're doing things, it's not like, well, what do you know? But fortunately for me, their offensive line coach the last 3 years played 9 years in the NFL and has a Super Bowl ring with the New England Patriots. So, but these guys have been around successful men or successful coaches, and these guys know how to win. The biggest challenge I have is, should something happen where we don't go, 13-0 again, or we have a hiccup on the road, how are they going to react to losing? And that's something we don't want to experience, but it's a reality of the game that it possibly could. Fortunately for us, we play an in-state schedule that allows us to play for a state title game. So if we slip against IMG or Saraland or even Christian Brothers out of Missouri, and we still win our division, then we still play for a state championship game. And so ultimately that's what our goal is. But make no mistake, we want to win every game and compete and be competitive in every one of those games.
Fair enough. Hey, listen, when you were when you come in, the people really don't know you very well, as staff. But I was reading one of these articles written about you, and one of the quotes that attributed to you really, really stuck out to me. So I want to touch on a little bit of personal note here. You said, this is quote, "God has led me to this point in my journey, and I look forward to how he will work in the lives of our players, coaches, and this program as we seek to glorify him in all that we do." Coach, talk a little bit about your how does it affect the role that you're in now?
Well, the great thing is I'm at a Christian school. It's Lipscomb Academy, which is a Church of Christ school. It's part of Lipscomb University, which is a Christian university. It's a lot like Liberty University, small Christian college with a small Christian high school on campus. And so to be able to be boldly profess my faith in that manner, it's not something unheard of, particularly here in Middle Tennessee. But understanding that my purpose for here goes well beyond X's and O's. It's developing young men of character in a Christ-centered manner. And what that does is it makes me have to be accountable to them and to my family and to the university for how I handle myself, how I carry myself. My faith journey started years ago in 1996. My brother passed away in a car accident, and then my wife became pregnant soon after, and that kind of opened up the question. And a lot of times people have tragedy or something in their life that happens that makes them want to know the why or what's the greater purpose in this. And so mine led me on a faith journey that led me to become a born-again Christian and put my faith in Jesus Christ. And football is an avenue with which I can share that gospel with. And so I can do it freely. I can do it openly in the environment that I'm in because it's the school that I'm a part of. And I don't make any bones about it. But at the end of the day, it's, I get paid to win football games. But in the process, I want to build young men of character. And when they look back on their time, that this would be a transformational point in their life, that they were fed by me and Grant Williams and Colt Peavy and Kenny Amato and Winston Justice and all these other guys, Brian Schulman, guys that have played at the highest level. But we all have found our purpose, and our purpose in coaching is to glorify God and coaching these kids, and that's what we want to do. And but at no point are we trying not to win games. It's all about winning games. God calls us to excellence. An excellent record is 13-0, and but it's how we do it and how we go about it, how we handle the program, how we teach our kids, how we correct them, how we emphasize not being just great on the football field, but in academics and all that kind of stuff. And I think it starts with the head coach. And when you start creating, these are the pillars of our program. And for us, I came in, I knew it. These are my 5 pillars of the program. It's going to be about the community. We're just a small part of a larger community. And that means the school, the university, the city of Nashville. And we represent, each other. We represent the families. and the name on the back of the jersey. And so then that's the community. It's about being committed. Committed means you got to give it all. If you're committed to your teammates, you're committed to the process, you're committed to your academics so that you can play football. We're going to be accountable to each other and to one another and hold each other accountable. We're going to be responsible for everything that's given to us and everything that we're asked to do, both on and off the football field. And we're going to be joyful in everything. We'll be enthusiastic about everything.
That's a great perspective, Coach.
There's that to care about everything that we do. CCARE, that's our 5 pillars of our program, and our guys know it. And we might not like the way we do things, but we're going to be joyful because we have the opportunity to do it. We might not like the outcome of it, but we're going to be joyful because we had an opportunity to go compete with the best, against the best, and that kind of thing. You don't have to like it when I call you out, but part of my job as a coach, as a mentor, as a dad, as a leader, or whatever, is to hold you accountable and make you responsible for what you're supposed to be doing. And everybody's bought in, and that's the great thing when you have transition, particularly at this age. The buy-in is what's so important. Are you going to buy into what I'm feeding you? And we have these conversations, and we call them table talks. We have lunch, and then we have table talks. And one of the coaches will share his life story, or we'll get someone to talk about him. And the more they know us personally, they can begin to trust us. When they can trust us, then I can coach them anything. And when I can trust them, I can put them in situations. It's 3rd and 1, 2 minutes left on the clock. And we got to score a touchdown against IMG. Who can I trust to put in those situations to help win that game? And we talk like that all the time, and we hold each other accountable. And so that's what the program's about. That's what everybody says. Everybody coaches that. They all talk it. They all say it. And until you live it out, it's really just something that you put on a piece of paper.
Coach, Joe, before you jump in with your next question, listen, great perspective. But the last couple of sentences there, man, if you end up using this, I want credit. Because here's what I heard. You said, and I quote, are you buying into what I'm trying to teach you? Sounds eerily similar to, or can you smell what the coach is cooking?
I can't do it, though. I can't raise the eyebrow. Can you smell it? Yes, I love it. Maybe I get rocked. Coming like voiceover one of our hype videos or something. Who knows?
Absolutely, absolutely. Joe, welcome back.
Thanks, bud. Hey, let's talk about your schedule, Coach. I've circled 7 games I want to talk about. Number 1, the first week of the season, you're hosting IMG, who's in most polls in the top 3 in the country. That we're going to be highlighting that game and showcasing it on the Flow Football channel. So. Congrats for a great first game.
Let's go, man.
Let's go.
That's a trial by fire right there, Joe.
I listened to Coach Miller's interview with you guys. I'm excited about it. I had a conversation with him when we were trying to nail this thing down. And man, when I announced that game to our families and our players, man, they're geeked up. We're excited about it, and we're hosting this year, so they get a little taste in Nashville and show them what the Southern hospitality really is.
Yep. And then the following week, you're at Baylor, who's a real good team out of Chattanooga. Then you come home and host Ensworth. That's a really good program out of Nashville. And then the second game that we're going to be televising on the Flow Football channel, 2 weeks later, you're hosting Christian Brothers from Missouri. Great team.
Yeah.
They love to travel all over America and play great teams. Then after that, you go to your old stomping grounds, MBA, where you coached before. 2 weeks later, you host Brentwood Academy. And then a week after that, you host McCallie, the boarding school up out of Chattanooga. So those 7 games are tough as it gets. Way to go. Way to start out strong. Play the best. Anyone, anywhere. No cowards allowed is our 3 hashtags. So you're living those 3 things.
Well, you missed one too. So actually we were scheduled to play Thompson, Alabama on week 2, and they backed out. And they actually scheduled with IMG for their
I know.
Yeah.
And
but we picked up Saraland, Alabama, which won the 6A state championship in the state of Alabama. So we're actually going down to Saraland to play them. IMG comes to us. The next week we go to Saraland, Alabama, and they got one of the top receivers in the country. So no fame for the weird. You got to go with it, man. I told my kids today, it's all gas, no brakes the rest of the season. Our division is the toughest one in the state. It's the Division II AAA, so we're playing against Baylor, McCallie, NBA, Christian Brothers out of Memphis. all we do is beat each other up in the regular season to get our seeding in the playoffs here in Tennessee in the private school division. And but Baylor's got a big program. It's a boarding school with 1,400 kids. We got 400 kids. You know, I mean, if I have 100 boys out of 200 kids, boys in the schools, so I got half the boys in the population are in my football program. So Montgomery Bell, if you don't beat Montgomery Bell, you don't win the Eastern Division. So you get the worst seed. If you don't beat Baylor, you don't win the state championship game. That's just the way it is in Tennessee. We all know that. The last staff, they decided that they're going to have Lipscomb Academy play up. They played up, and then Chunk Deuces and went to UAB and said, "Here you go, whoever the new head coach is." And we're not shying away from it. We're excited about it. The mission that was given to me when I took over the job, that we wanted to stay competitive. We want to play against teams like IMG, Modern Day, and those kind of schools, and we want to help provide the resources and the backing to do that. And they've done it, and more importantly, the families have all bought in, and so we're excited about it, and our kids are eagerly anticipating it. As of today, we had 39 working days till IMG. That means days where we actually sweat days and sweat equity days, and our guys are counting it down, and we're looking forward to it.
Joe, you know what's coming, right?
Yeah. Go ahead, do it. Get over it.
Coach, it's only 473 miles from Nashville, Tennessee to Lowndes High School. All you got to do is get on I-24 to Chattanooga, hit I-75 South. It's a straight shot to Lowndes High School to play the Mighty Vikings.
We ain't worried about it. We'll I get my AD in touch with your AD, and let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen, Joe.
Let's make it happen. Yeah. Shoot, I'd like to go down to Louisiana, go play my high school, but I don't think Leesville wants those cats to be able to hang with Lipscomb Academy. So, but we'll go anywhere. We got the support to do it, and but if we're going to travel that far, we're going to start fundraising now to be able to either get the buses or get the plane, whatever it's going to take. But we're excited about it. And I will say Trent Dilfer built a great program here, and the expectations are high for me or whoever else would have been sitting in the seat right now. And but man, you don't play this game, you don't coach it to take the week on, take the weekends on. You coach it to be successful, and you coach it to win games and to win championships, and that's what the goal always is. The great thing is everybody's 0-0 until August 18th.
Yeah,
and then everybody will start playing it out, and we'll see who's standing at the end of the season.
Hey, Coach, last year you beat your average opponent 45-7. You had 5 shutouts during the season. How's the O going to look versus last year, and the D? Major changes?
Well, obviously we got a new pass game coordinator. Our run game coordinator was the run game coordinator last year, Grant Williams. So, but I mean, you got to figure out like where you losing pieces. With Hank Brown left, he's going to UAB. I mean, he's going to Auburn. So we have to find a quarterback can step in that role. We've lost 3 offensive linemen to Power 5 programs, and so we got to fill those really. Again, I told you, Bo Smith is the only senior coming back. But so where you drop off, you got to figure out who's going to pick it up. Well, we got 4 workhorses in the backfield for us. We feel like our run game's going to be strong. We got Dylan Lorick. We got a couple other young wide receivers that don't have a lot of playing time, but they got a lot of skill and a lot of ability. So, we're a multiple offense. We're a multiple offense, pro style offense. We'll do zone read. We'll run gap scheme. But at the end of the day, we got to figure out what we're going to major in. But we will run the football. That's the great thing when your offense coordinator is an offensive line guy, your head coach is an offensive line guy, and your offensive line coach is a line guy. We got 3, and your defensive line coach played O-line in the NFL. So we're going to run the football, but we have the ability to take shots. We got speed that can stretch the field, and on the offensive side of the ball, and we really feel good about where we're at. It's just kind of we got to figure out who's going to play the specific parts, and there's going to be a lot of role players. Depending on who we're playing against, a lot of game plan type stuff. On the defense, we feel really comfortable about who we got out there. Edwin could play anywhere in the country. Edwin's a player that he's a guy. Literally, we were short in our strength staff early on, and we gave him the workout. Said, Edwin, you run the weight room while we take the guys out conditioning. And he ran the weight room for us. He can call all the shots on the field. He can tell you what the secondary is supposed to do. So we have a coach on the field and a very mature senior linebacker in Edwin Spillman. So we got guys that are stepping up in roles. I think the key is leadership on any team. I firmly believe, like Parcells used to teach, he felt like the strength in the middle of the field is where you got to win the game, from safety, middle linebacker, your nose tackle, center, quarterback, running back. If you're strong down the middle of the field, then you can do anything you want to do. And I feel like that's where we're at right now. Our defense is a multiple style defense. We can switch from a 4-2 to a 3-4, 3-3-5. We have the ability to do that because of the type of kids that we got. We just got to feel like, find out what's the most comfortable for our players and what one that can match up well with whoever we're playing against.
Coach, I'm going to ask you a question because I simply just don't know. I think back when you were talking, I was thinking back to my playing days, and I came from the defensive side of the ball. So now when I interview coaches and watch game film, that's usually my perspective. I'm looking at what the defense does and things like that. You just brought up an interesting point. We talked about your background as offensive lineman, and you got several assistants that are O-linemen as well. The previous coach was a quarterback, so I'm wondering, is the approach to offensive football different depending on the position that you played, or you just want to do what's best for winning?
I think what's best for winning. Look, I told one of my senior guys today, I said, he's like, well, I think a senior should play these positions. I said, I think a senior can sit at the end of the bench as long as it helps us win a game. I don't care. It's about winning games. And if you're going to help us win and I can trust you, we're going to use you. If you can't help me win, this is not 5th and 6th grade football anymore. Everybody doesn't get to play.
Yeah. We
play to win the game. Herm Edwards said it all the time. You play to win the game. And that's what we're going to do. And but because it just happened to be that we're so heavy offensive line wise. Grant Williams and I, we've been working our way up. We always said that we wanted to coach together, but we never could because we're both O-line coaches. Well, I'm not comfortable. I didn't want to be a head coach and coaching position.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to be a head coach. So it's like, all right, you're going to be the coordinator. And we're going to get us a young quarterback coach that understands the passing game really, really well. And him and Grant have been working together to put our offense together. And just because there's 3 O-line coaches doesn't mean that's all we're going to do. I think the smart coaches understand the players that they have, and they play what they got, and they tweak their offense or defense to the talent that they have. And that's what we're trying to do. But we're good enough that we can switch from one week to the next depending on our opponents and what they're trying to do to us. We feel comfortable enough that we can switch our defensive personnel to match offensive personnel. We can change our offensive game plan to match whatever defense is given to us. And that's how I think that's what the smart coaches do. Coaches and this is what we do. We're not deviating from it, trying to pound square pegs in round holes. I just don't think that it's not fair to your coaches. It's not fair to your players. I think if you hire coaches that are smart enough to understand schematically what other teams are doing and understand how to watch film and study it, then they can come up with game plans. And that's what my guys do. I trust my coaches, my coordinators to put together a plan that we're all agreeable on. At the end of the day, if we succeed, they've done a great job. If we lose, it's on me. And so I give them the freedom to use their imagination to develop an offense and the defense that we are all comfortable with, and we all know that we can run successfully.
Hey, Coach, Nashville has always been a desirable destination in general. You could tell by all the tourism. But now, with what you're saying and what you're doing, and the people who watch this interview, fans and coaches alike, it's going to become a desirable destination for football teams that want to play the best in your area.
Well, we hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as the #1 promoter of high school football games and events in America, I could tell you right now, you're not going to have a hard time finding great teams to play, whether you want to host or travel. You're doing all the right things. You're saying all the right things. Your boys are, leaders on and off the field. It's a great testament for you. How long have you been there? 6 months, maybe?
February 1st.
Technically, yeah. So you're when you're doing a hell of a job. Real impressed how fast you've gotten everything up and running. Again, most polls right now, the 4 that are out, there's about 8 polls in high school football. Half are out right now. You're between number 19 and 23. The good thing about playing IMG is win or lose, you're probably going to rise in the polls. That's just how it is.
You know, it's like, and when you schedule, and that's the key. Like for us, we have to play an 8-game in-season schedule, in-state schedule, or 7. It's 8. I think it's 8 games.
Yeah.
And so we have 3 days. We actually have 4, if we wanted to schedule with no bye weeks. But we're going to take a bye week this year. But so now you got to be very selective on who you're going to play in those 3, because it is about national rankings. Like I can go play a public school here in Tennessee that we can beat the bricks off of and be happy about that just to get a win under our belt. Or I can challenge our team and our program, say, hey, if we're going to be the best and we want to be nationally ranked, we got to go find the nationally ranked teams. Who are we going to play?
Wow.
All right, it's going to be St. Francis. Can we call Modern Day up? Can we call can I call Evangeline Christian Academy in Shreveport, Louisiana, Calvary, who was at timeless? Do we want to play John Curtis in New Orleans? Do I want to go play Jesuit down in Florida? Or do I want to go, play, oh man, I want to go out to Texas.
St. Thomas Aquinas, another great Catholic school. How great would it be for you to go to Fort Lauderdale and they'd come to you in a home and home series?
No doubt, or go out to California and play Modern Day. John Bosco, Bishop Gorman, and those are the schools that everybody wants. These are nationally ranked programs year in and year out, and that's what Trent wanted to accomplish with this program, and he did that, and that's what the community expects now. So when we do have those dates on the schedule, this season will end, 2024 will start, and say, who are we going to play? All right, well, we are in contract with IMG, a home and home. We'll be going down to Bradenton next year. Saraland's going to come up to us next year. All right, we got one more date. Who do we want to fill? Is it Christian Brothers? If we play them and they feel comfortable about coming back to us, or do we want to go somewhere else? And that's the freedom that we've been given. But if you want to be a nationally ranked program, you got to be willing to play those out-of-state teams. I know some states aren't allowing teams to travel, and unfortunately for Tennessee, it's like you can do whatever you want in your 4 open days that you have, but you're going to play your in-state schedule. And until that changes, and as long as we continue to have success, and one is building our program up from within. There's a 5th and 6th grade community team that we've now taken on. Now we have a 5th and 6th grade program under our football umbrella. And so we have our built-in system where the 5th and 6th grade works up to 7th and 8th grader who runs a simpler form of our offense and defense. And their junior high coach is in our staff meetings and part of our staff. And so we build that program from within. And then, between the Lipscomb Academy academics and what we're doing athletically, not just on the football field, Elite 8 in basketball, Elite Final 4 in basketball, state championship game in baseball, soccer made it to the playoffs, women's soccer made it to the playoffs, bowling won 2 state titles in a row. So we're not just successful on the football field, we've been successful in other areas on top of that. And then academically, we can challenge anybody here in the private school sector in Nashville, Tennessee. So not only do you build your football program from within, but you got to make it desirable from outside the community for kids that want to come here. In no way are we wanting to recruit, but we want them to show that this is what we have to offer you as a student athlete. And what we can do academically, we're going to play a national program. You want to get recognized in football, we're playing 3 games on ESPN or Flow Sports. It's going to be nationally ranked in the national programs. And you think you're the best, you're going to play against the number 1 receiver in week 2. You're playing against probably a whole roster full of 5 and 4 stars on week 1. You'll come play the number 2 team in the state of Missouri in week 5. And oh, by the way, every other team in our state has won at least 1 state championship in the last 20 years. That's what we have going here. And it's just, I'm excited about it. And my kids are excited about it. And we're at that point now. It's like, we're in the 3rd quarter of the year, right? Meaning like this is football, get ready for the football program. We got 4 weeks, then we're going to kick it off. 5 weeks, we're going to kick it off. And then we're going to let the chips fall where they may and just have fun doing it.
Yeah. And Coach, the good thing about where you are in the state of Tennessee, you're doing what a lot of other teams are not doing.
Right.
They just don't. I mean, again, I'm the largest promoter of high school football games in America. You're the only client I have in the state of Tennessee. So you keep doing doing what you're doing. People are gonna, if they haven't started noticing already, the 7th and 8th graders, who you're playing, they are, and you're gonna be the when it comes to Mustang Day or whatever you call it, when kids come on campus to see the school, you're going to be selling out, athletes and student athletes alike, because of what you just outlined.
Yep. Yeah, and we do a great job. Especially with the younger generation now, social media hits and all that kind of stuff. My SID, who works with the football program and with the university, his name's Patrick Carpenter. This guy's phenomenal when it comes to graphics and edits. We got one of the top Twitter feeds out there for high school footballs in the country. Our hits rival small colleges and even some in-state colleges here. So we got a generous following, and so when kids see that and see what we're about, and parents, when parents see that this is what's genuine about Coach Kevin Mawae and his football staff, and then they get on campus and see that family atmosphere, it's a big football program on a very small campus, and how well it's backed by alumni and parents and the national community, then it's a desirable place. And I'll do it all in a Christian environment, boot. Where else would you want to be? And again, I'm not trying to sell it. This is just when recruiters come in and say, tell me what you got for 24s, 25s, and maybe 26s. I'm like, Coach, I'm not blowing smoke, but here's what we have. And so you'll know there's 6 of us on the staff that played in the NFL, so we know what football players look like. Don't want to waste your time. The guys in green, don't touch them because they're higher level guys. The guys in blue are guys you want that fits your program. So I'm not going to sell you Johnny, who give you everything he's got, and he's 5 foot in the fuzz, and he's just as wide as he is tall. But there's a place in college football that kid can play. But when coaches know that you're shooting them straight, and parents know that you're shooting them straight, but you're doing it for the right reason, then they buy in, and that's what we got right now. It's a special place to be here at Lipscomb Academy.
Coach, you stole my thunder. I was going to make a comment about Patrick Carpenter. I have over 400 clients. I have over 400 clients that I do scheduling for. He is the best SID out of anybody I deal with, and he's also one hell of a country music singer.
There's no doubt. Hey, check him out on Spotify. It's Patrick Carpenter. We just tell him all he has to do is get a girlfriend and break up with her, and her music songs will be a whole lot better than what they are.
Exactly. But, he's a hell.
He's phenomenal.
He's really great. I go to Nashville a lot for business, and we always go to lunch. He and I, we talk about music mostly, football second. Great guy. Again, the best SID that I deal with out of all 400 of my clients.
Well, I'm glad that I'll pass that message on to him. I'm happy that he's on board and that he stayed with us. And I'm like, look, hey, you handle this. I'll do it. Just figure out a time for me to do it, and we'll make it work. And but he does a great job. He does everything from our social media graphics to our videos. He oversees our video productions. He oversees our video guys that do huddle and all that kind of stuff for our football program. And so he's a big part of our success, and we're happy to have him.
Yep.
Coach, we want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. And so listen, there's a lot of excitement around your program. Congratulations for being the head guy there. I know you're going to do big things. We'll be looking forward to keeping close tabs on what your program does this year. So thank you again for joining us on National High School Football tonight.
Larry, Joe, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Excited about it. I'll see you, Joe, August 18th at Mustang Stadium, man.
Got that right. Good luck. We'll see you soon. Again, I'm down there a lot. You know that. I'll be reaching out. So we'll hang out soon, and I can't wait to start working on your 2024 schedule.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Take care.